Hi, folks. My name is Danielle Conroy, and this is my esteemed co-author, Dr. Keith Merron. We have written a fabulous book, we think, called Radical Self-Responsibility, a practical guide for creating extraordinary relationships. And the reason we've written this, or the reason I have contributed to this partnership with Keith, is I have found using the actual practices myself in my own relationships, both at home and at work, have dramatically increased their depth, intimacy, understanding, and it really has made a huge difference to how I'm able to show up in those relationships in much more powerful ways. What about you, Keith?
I share that very same thing, and I've noticed, as we've talked about so many times over the years, how people often in difficult situations, especially in relationship, they tend to go to blame, and they tend to get stuck in a vortex. And this book is about getting them out of that vortex.
Right, exactly. My background is a executive coach and consultant. And I think what I can say is that for over 25 years, I've been exploring the edges of my own and other people's comfort zones in a very deeply transformative environment, supporting people in kind of expanding into the next level of their effectiveness and power in the world, and to actually create some of those extraordinary relationships and have a much more fulfilling life.
Yes, my background is similar as well, of a doctorate in organization development and a lifelong inquiry of how do I find the best in my relationships with others. So, we should talk a little bit about, what we think are the takeaways. For me, one of them is that you'll see in the book this idea of a pause, that in a conflict, in a frustrating situation, so often what happens for people is they get reactive, and they, in their reactivity, get into a loop with another. This book helps them stop doing that.
It does. And in addition to that, it actually supports us in learning practices to turn inward in those difficult moments in our lives, both at work and at home, where we can actually feel what's actually arising in that moment that allows us to heal and actually get through to the other side of some of these very difficult moments by a more grounded sense of who we are and what's showing up in that moment that's challenging. We can actually get to a place where we start to discharge some of these wounds that we carry with us over our lifetime so that we can actually operate way more effectively in our relationships.
And in some ways, you've expressed the recipe in the book. Mm-hmm. It is the stopping, the pausing, the looking inward, the deepening, the self-reflection that comes from that deepening that makes all the difference in the world in all relationships.
Yeah. So we invite you to pre-order our book. And we know that you will get a lot out of it, as we do in our own lives every day when we use these principles and practices.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.